Hello everyone, I am a Nick of many names, and today I am here to show you how to get the fabled Unbreaking X enchantment in Minecraft on Wold's Vaults. Now if you know what this is and how to get it, you can skip forward ahead using the chapters in the video, but if you don't, stick around for a second. So it all starts out with the humble enchantment applicator from Industrial Foregoing. This guy can take enchanted books and put them on items. What is not explained in really most places is that you can enchant already enchanted items. So if I take an Unbreaking 3 pickaxe and I put Unbreaking 3 book on it, it turns into an Unbreaking 4 enchantment. Seems pretty simple. However, if you want to go from 3 to 10, that takes a bit more effort. Let me show you. So you want to get Unbreaking 10. Well, if you want Unbreaking 10, you're going to need 2 Unbreaking 9s. And if you want 2 Unbreaking 9s, you're going to need 4 Unbreaking 8s. So on and so forth. It doubles every time you go up a level of OverEnchanting, we'll call it. So if you want Unbreaking X, you're going to want 128 Unbreaking 3 items. And if you're going to want to get all of those to the next level, you're going to have to do 64 operations in our enchantment applicator, which I've just called Combiner, in order to get all 64 Unbreaking 4s you'll need. Then you'll need to go back and do that again and again and again until you get to 10. Which is a lot of work, so let's automate it. This flowchart basically describes what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to take all of our starting items, combine them together into the next batch of items that we want to upgrade. Then we feed all of the items that we just got back into the input, and then do that again. Pretty simple, although Minecraft has got, its fun quirks and things. So that's the general idea of it. Now let's take that to the next level. This is what our machine is going to roughly look like on paper. We're going to take half of the input and half of the output. These are all going to be in the form of enchanted tools. In our case, I'm going to use pickaxes, but we take half of our enchanted Unbreaking 3 pickaxes, and we just shove those straight into the enchantment extractor. And then the other half of those are going to go into the enchantment applicator. The extractor is going to take the Unbreaking pickaxe and turn it into just a pickaxe and an Unbreaking book. The pickaxe is just going to be an extra output, so you can just shove that into a chest somewhere. And that's what we call extra tools. This is going to take the input of books, probably a lot of them. Just give it a whole lot. If it runs out, it will stop right where it is, and you don't have to worry about it like breaking or anything. But once you get the book out of the extractor, then you can combine that with the pickaxe in the applicator, and that will turn it into the Unbreaking 4 that we're looking for. Now you want to make sure that the extract is on a round robin mode, so it will evenly distribute between these two outputs, because that's where it's going to have to go. Then, once all of the inputs are empty, and this machine has done its thing, it's done run its first batch, then we turn on a pipe that will pull all of the output, feed it back into the input, and then do the whole process over again. That's roughly what we're looking for. And also right here at the input to the extractor and applicator, that's where you can throw levers in to make sure that this thing does not run while you are filling it up, because that leads to weird funkiness that we are not looking for. So here we are in game, and this is what our machine is roughly going to look like. You're more than welcome to take this design and clean it up a hell of a lot. I'm keeping everything exposed so you guys can follow along with me and on what the hell is going on here. So if we're referring to our diagram, these two chests here are our two inputs. We have a double chest, which is 54 slots, and 2 hoppers, which are 5 each. That's a total of 64. So we have 64 of our 128 Unbreaking 3 items here, and the other 64 are over here. And these are going to be feeding into our applicator and our extractor, respectively. Each of them also has its own on-off lever. If you wanted to make it simpler, you can tie these together. But they do need to be going into these pipes, which have a basic pipe upgrade, and that is just to make it so these can be redstone controlled. So, on the extractor side, we're feeding in books, which I've just got an infinite supply, but you'll probably be doing it a bit more legitimately. and those are just going into a hopper, and those will be feeding into the brown slot. Only books can go in here, so you don't have to worry about filtering. As far as the pickaxes, those will be going into the blue slot, which, same deal. Only the enchanted pickaxes are going to be going into the blue slot. And then that will spit out into the used item, the enchantless item, which I have disabled on all sides because we don't want those going into the applicator. And instead, those are just going out the top, which is just going into a couple of storage chests for overflow, because you're going to be getting all of these pickaxes have to go somewhere. On the bottom is where our book is going, and that is going into a little buffer chest and just going straight into the enchantment applicator. Now, keep in mind, these are going into the east side, I believe. No, north side. So north side is going to be getting the purple. That's where the books are going. We want to make sure they're only going into the purple and not the blue, and vice versa for the pickaxes. Those are going to be going into just the blue and not the purple. Pickaxes can go into both of these slots, so if you don't filter that, it will just start using more pickaxes, and it will kind of break the logic of the system. This guy also will need some supply of liquid XP or equivalent, so get a mob grinder going, or if you have a way to suck it out of the player, go for that as well. And we're also getting power through the bottom of these, but it's just creative energy cell. You don't have to worry about what's going on down there. The resulting item is going to be pulled out the back. It is going to be using a improved pipe upgrade, which is the second tier, and has to be on round robin and has to be on when powered. We'll go over why the redstone has to be on when powered as opposed to off in the front. And the round robin is just to make sure, because both halves are going through here, so they need to be redistributed into two halves for the output. Once this whole thing has run its course, all of the Unbreaking 3 items have gone through here and are now Unbreaking 4 items. That's when the redstone control comes in. We have comparators on both input chests and the middle buffer chest, just to be extra sure. And these will tell us once all items have left these chests. Keep in mind that when they're out of the chests, they may not be out of the machines yet. So that is why we have a boatload of redstone repeaters. That is giving us a very large delay on the order of seconds to tell us, hey, it has been 3 seconds since these machines have since these chests have emptied, which means that the machines are most likely empty as well. Once that delay has gone all the way through, then we start pulling out of the output and feeding it back into input to do our next batch. While this is also happening, these guys are still extracting and can still put it into the machines. We do not want it to come back out while this is still doing its transfer of the batch. Because if you get a Unbreaking 5 mixed in with the Unbreaking 4s, that will also break things, which is why we have the on when powered. But in essence, it will just keep running that loop until it can no longer combine items together, which either means you have an Unbreaking 10, or because of the limitations of this machine, more likely means you'll have 4 Unbreaking 8 items, in which case you can just do the last little combinations in an anvil, and that'll be fine. But for the sake of demonstration, since this is all loaded up, we can flip this lever and this lever and get a stopwatch going, just so we can see how much time we're saving. So let's hit go. And that's time. So in about 3 minutes, that's all it took in order to combine 128 items into a couple of Unbreaking 8 items. Keep in mind, the reason these aren't combining is because the amount of XP it requires is actually more than what's capable of being stored in the tank. But that's doing its own internal math in order to figure that out. What we can do in its stead is just bring it over to this anvil and combine them together ourselves, which only costs 1 level each. And then if you want to be frugal, you can throw this 9 back into here to get the book out of it. which is going to be pulled into here, but then we can just grab it and blam, Unbreaking 10, as advertised. Now for the follow-up question. How the hell do I get that many Unbreaking items? Well, there's a couple of ways. The first way I'll talk about is the I'm kind of lazy but also better for long-term effort, is the villagers. If you get a librarian villager by placing a lectern inside the trader, you probably know how to do that. You can find an Unbreaking 3 trade in here with the bit of gambling. It probably will take a long time, not going to lie, but it will be less effort in the long run if you plan on making a lot of these books, like if you're on a server, for instance. Little pro tip, if you press C by default, it will automatically cycle through whatever the trades are without having to click the button. And the Unbreaking book is, as shown here, the sprite is mostly blue with a ribbon of red, so you can kind of spam it and speed up the process just a little bit. Oh look, Unbreaking 2. But yeah, if you get this villager, and you have to trade at least once in order to lock it in, and if you zombify him and then de-zombify him using using the converter provided by the mod, then you can essentially cure him and he'll give a permanent discount always. The only thing about this process is that it is a little slow. Not just on finding the villager in the first place, but they do have a limited number of trades they can do per in-game day. So getting 128 of these bad boys, or for Unbreaking 2 would be 256, might take a while. So you can run a couple of vaults in the meantime. Although, if you hook that up with this guy, then you could just be passively making these so that you can, maybe sell them to your fellow players on the server. Just saying. The other method is what I like to call the Carpal Tunnel Method. So I have set up here a backpack and stone. And as you can see, picking up the backpack just immediately put a stack of emeralds and an iron pickaxe into my inventory. And that is because I have it set up with a few extra iron pickaxes, some extra emeralds, a refill upgrade, and a pickup upgrade. There's also a stack upgrade, just makes life a little easier. But you want it to be refilling iron pickaxes and emeralds. To make life extra easy, we'll put this in our back slot. Emeralds can be anywhere in your inventory. It doesn't matter too much. Iron pickaxes we want specifically to be in this slot, just to make for minimal carpal tunnel. So if we fill up our entire top row of the inventory, other than that slot, and our hotbar, then that means whenever we take one out, it will automatically go into that slot. You can also turn off that. You can also wear a magnet of really any kind, although probably one that is energized would be best. And that will make it so that when you are inevitably going to be chucking items onto the ground, they'll be picked up a little faster. Hey look, energized. And we can put that into our magnet slot, which is around here somewhere. There it is. So if we go into survival mode, you'll see I have currently 2 levels of experience, which is enough for doing just 2 of these. So when we shift click an iron pickaxe in, it'll automatically replenish it. And then we can scroll down or just click towards the bottom, hit Unbreaking, hit Enchant, and then we can chuck that out of our inventory and it will immediately go into our backpack. I've done this a couple times. I'll do it again just to show you. Now we're up to 5. If you get the motions down, you can be very fast at it. Although, you'll notice, already we've hit a bit of a problem. Run out of levels. And that is where our friend XP bottles come in handy. So if we put a little redstone clock on the back, provided by Tiny Gates, its default is every, I think, half second, or roughly, yeah. Or no, 1 second. So every second, it will give out a redstone pulse to the dispenser, just shoving a bottle and breaking it at our feet and letting us pick it up. And if we stand on this pressure plate, it'll do that. So then that lets us get into the rhythm a little bit and give us levels at an efficient rate so that we don't use too many for this process. And you can really get pretty fast at this. It's still tedious, don't get me wrong, because you will need 128 of these guys for every Unbreaking 10 book you want. but this helps make the process a little less painful. So if you set yourself up with exactly 128 pickaxes in your backpack to start with, then you're set. You can go full mindless on it, do your enchanting, and then dump them in there when you're done. So there you have it. Now, a couple other things of note here is that this machine does not only work for Unbreaking. It will also work for other enchantments that can be done to the over the maximum OverEnchanting, such as Fortune or Efficiency. You just have to be very careful with how many items you put into each of these chests. It has to be exactly half of the maximum. So for Fortune, you need 16 items total of Fortune 3, which 8 of which are in here, 8 of which are in here. And for Efficiency, it's 32 total. So 16 here, 16 there. And then you pull the levers to hit go. If it's not done like that, then yeah, the logic can get messed up and can get a little gunked up. If you are having trouble with it, just make sure that before you put any items in, both of these levers are turned on, all other chests are empty, and then put your items in, then pull the levers to hit go. Otherwise, you might wind up with a bit of wasted effort, and no one wants that. We want maximum efficiency. That's why we're here. So yeah, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope that my little doohickey here has helped someone not spend days of their life just combining enchantments on a book, just to get that extra bit of durability out of your endgame armor that you really, really like. Let me know if there's anything. Let me know in the comments if there's any improvements that you've made or any suggestions you can make to this to make it better, or if there's something else you want me to show off in the future. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.